Hello, if you want to watch exclusive lemon content on What If Naruto, then go to my Boosty. The first link in the description here contains such hot stories for adults, such as What If Naruto was a daddy for Sarada, or Kushina and Mikoto vulgar Naruto mommies. Follow the link and enjoy. I'm waiting for you.
Prologue. October 10th is a day of celebration, hope, and new beginnings. It was also a day of fear, dread, and hatred. That day, the mighty Kubino Aiko fell at the hands of Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage. It was also the birthday of the young Uzumaki Naruto. For most, a birthday would be a joyous occasion. But for Naruto, it was just a day of fear and hatred. The usual hostile looks and ominous feeling intensified even more that day. As 8-year-old Naruto slowly walked towards the academy, he looked around and sighed. Damn, it's October 10th again. Let's see what they give me this year. He chuckled bitterly at his own bad joke. The only gifts he received, if you can call it that, were rocks out the window and poisoned birthday cakes from the neighborhood bakery. Not counting the extra pay of the old man and the free ramen from the street stall. I better go find another hiding place for tonight, he thought, frowning as he remembered past experiences. Suddenly noticing the gloomy expression on his face, he quickly regained his carefree smile. He scanned the faces of the nearby villagers and noticed that none of them broke out of the usual cold gaze and continued on his way. Contrary to what many believed, Naruto was not a dumb kid. Far from it. For being only 8 years old, he was very observant and analytical. He remembered the gloomy looks of the villagers since he had the use of reason, even before he started with his ridiculous jokes. No, Naruto was pretty smart. After all, he managed to learn to read and write by himself, in addition to performing basic mathematical operations, even with the teachers at the academy trying to sabotage it. In fact, Naruto learned an ancient ninja principle a long time ago, to look beyond appearances. Abruptly coming out of his thoughts, he realized that he had arrived at the academy, another place that he detested. Let's see what boredom awaits me today, he thought. As she walked around the school and entered her classroom, she quickly sat down near the back window and relaxed, waiting for the other students to arrive. When she attended class, she liked to arrive early and enjoy the few moments of peace before the class rushed in. And she had to put her mask back on. How much I hated that mask, a mask of happiness and indifference in the face of hatred. But at the end of the day, a ninja's best tool is deception, he said, and with another deep sigh, he lowered his head and fell asleep. Pam! Naruto's head snapped into an alert position as he felt a slight throbbing on his forehead. Wake up! Iruka shouted. I'm sorry, sensei, Naruto replied quickly as he flashed a shy smile and started rubbing the back of his neck. Iruka sighed to himself as he tried to suppress the frustration. What am I going to do with you, Naruto? You have to pay attention in class. Otherwise, you will always be among the last in the class. Don't worry about me, sensei, I'll get to the top right away, Naruto said with a smile. Yes, of course, Sakura teased from the front. You'll never beat Sasuke. With a slight blush of embarrassment on his face, Naruto sat back down in silence as the class erupted in laughter. Okay, calm down, class, Iruka said, as he tried to regain control of the class. As you know, tonight's festival was organized to commemorate the fourth Hokage for his. As Naruto stopped paying attention to the rest of the lecture, he was seething with rage at the pink-haired vixen's stupidity. And pretending to like her made his stomach churn. Damn, I wish I could talk some sense into her once and for all and prove to her that Sasuke wasn't the center of the universe. Still, I have to admit that he could probably still beat me right now, although not by much. To be honest, Naruto didn't have much against Sasuke. After all, the guy was a normal student of an academy belonging to a clan, only he already had his own fan club. From the front of the class, Mizuko watched Naruto with a thoughtful expression. He wondered if the plan would work out that night. After all, the Zanbu would be scattered around the village to keep an eye on any problems, and Hokage himself would also be busy. Now I just had to get the Kyugi brat to do the work, and everything would turn out perfect. After class, hey, Naruto, wait. A scream was heard from behind. As he turned around, Naruto saw Mizuki-sensei approaching. Yes, how are you, sensei? I was wondering if you would like to add some truth to that statement you made in class today, Mizuki said with a smile. Naruto was immediately put on alert. For someone like him, fake masks were very easy to spot. But, moved by curiosity, he moved on. Sure, I'd love to. He kept flashing his fake smile all the time. Great, all you need to do is get me the forbidden scroll from the local tower tonight so I can teach you an awesome new jutsu. How stupid does this guy think I am? Naruto thought, trying to hide the surprise on his face. Instead, he decided to play dumb. Isn't that against the rules? No, this will also be a training exercise. Huh. How is that going to work out? Naruto asked, visibly confused. Well, I've seen your evasion skills and they're pretty good, so all you have to do is sneak into the tower and bring me the scroll that's in the forest. But you have to avoid all the ninjas on the way. By now, Naruto could barely contain his laughter. How did it occur to this guy to be so dumb? Although, thinking about it, I guess the facade I put on wasn't so bad. Suddenly, inspiration came to Naruto like a lightning bolt. Of course I will. Just give me the instructions again, on a piece of paper, so I won't forget them, he said while rubbing the back of his neck. No problem. Stop by the academy at 8 when the festival starts, and I'll even give you a map with the marked route. While Mizuki turned around and left to make preparations, Naruto ran home to get scrolls and writing utensils. After all, Mizuki had given him the opportunity of a lifetime, and he wasn't going to let it slip away. Chapter 1. After quickly setting aside the necessary materials, Naruto made a few gestures and expressed. In Genjutsu, there was a teenage version of Naruto there, with elongated brown eyes, an attractive figure, and, most importantly, no mustache marks, and no trace of his characteristic orange color. He was wearing a very provocative civilian outfit and quickly left the room. From a very young age, Naruto learned that if he didn't look the way he was, he got things much cheaper. That's why, every time he went out to buy groceries, he transformed himself with this simple academy-level jutsu. After all, everyone is much nicer to a curvy teenage girl. Sneaking into an all-occasion ninja supply store, he quickly found what he needed, a small portable sealing scroll that allowed him to carry large quantities of objects. As he approached the till, he noticed that the cashier was watching him intently. Hello, the cashier said with what he thought was a lovely smile. Hello, Naruto replied with a slight chuckle. Although I hated doing this, it was absolutely necessary to the plan, so I would have to go ahead. So you want a scroll with a seal, huh? Yes, I need them to help me move some things. I bought a new house and all that. Well, these are pretty expensive. Do you have the cash? The cashier said with a skeptical look. Well, to be honest, I'm a little short of money, and I need a little help. Do you think you could do me that favor? Naruto asked while flirting with the cashier. Well, I guess I could help you a little. The cashier laughed as he looked at Naruto's cleavage. You know what? What do you think about this? I'll give you the scroll if you let me invite you to dinner tonight. After all, tonight is a celebration, and you can also consider it a welcome gift to the house, said the cashier as he sketched what he assumed was an award-worthy smile. That would be great, Naruto said as he took a few leaps, letting his attributes move slightly. She quickly grabbed the scroll and left, while the cashier was still dazed, thinking about bouncing marshmallows. Wait a minute, the cashier thought. I didn't give him my name or tell him where to find us. As he ran towards the porch of the store, he looked around frantically, but did not see anyone who looked in the least like the girl he had just seen. Sitting in a dark alley, an old beggar sketched a sly smile and started walking back to a seemingly dilapidated complex. Well, I didn't think I was going to get the free scroll, but it comes in handy. Naruto quickly went through his supplies once more, and after one last look, he opened his new free sealing scroll. After putting all his supplies away, he quickly left to meet Mizuki at the academy. Hey, Naruto, there you are. Hey, Professor Mizuki. Hey, Naruto, here's everything you wanted, including the map I promised you, so you won't get lost. And if you follow the line at the right time, there will be fewer patrols. Girl, Mizuki said with a fake smile. Wow, thank you, sensei. Well, I'd better get going now. Having said that, he turned around and ran towards the Okage Tower. Seeing the blonde leave, Mizuki couldn't help but smile with a sneer. I will win regardless of whether that idiot fails or succeeds. If he fails, he will undoubtedly get into so much trouble that not even the Okage will be able to save him. And if he somehow succeeds, I'll get the Forbidden Scroll. So saying, he set off towards the rendezvous point in the forest. Okage Tower. Moving quickly through the dark corridors was not a difficult task. Most of the guards were patrolling, and the other workers had already left to enjoy the festival. The few remaining guards were also not very aware. Since it was the festival, some had already had a few drinks of serve. What idiots, drinking at work. Damn, this town has become very permissive. The old man really needs to get his act together. Without thinking twice, he concentrated on the task at hand. City limits. Panting, panting, panting. Damn, I need to get in better shape. Naruto wiped away his brother's sweat. After consulting his map, he quickly located the meeting point with Mizuki. With a smile to himself, he set off in the opposite direction and found a small abandoned hut. He crept in and quickly unsealed the Forbidden Scroll, along with his own scrolls, pens, and ink. That was too easy. The old man really needs to beef up security. We can't always have the Zambu watching over us, can we? But I can't complain, after all, I got this beauty. With another self-satisfied smile, he began to copy the forbidden techniques from the scrolls. 2 hours later, Mum, I must say I'm pretty disappointed that there's hardly anything here. Only a few Junin-level techniques, but nothing extremely dangerous or secret. There was also another piece of paper inside. A marriage certificate from someone named Kushina Uzumaki and Minato Namikaze. The only thing that interested the blonde was the surname Uzumaki. Will I have any relatives around? And that she was married to the fourth. Mom, I'll keep this for now and review it later, he said, and turned his attention back to the main scroll. When re-examining the scroll, he noticed some strange marks on the side, which at first he mistook for decoration. As he ran his finger through the intricate designs, he suddenly withdrew his hand and saw a small cut on the paper. Damn, this stings. He exclaimed, shaking his hand a little to relieve the stinging. A drop of blood fell on the side decoration. Suddenly, the scroll lit up, its edges lengthened, and new material appeared. There were also several stamped circles. Very similar to the sealing scroll he had picked up earlier that day. Feeling a smile forming on his face, Naruto sealed the circles with duct tape and revealed their hidden contents. The first one disappointed him once again. It was a mission scroll for someone named Uchiha Itachi. It said something about investigating the nest and, if necessary, extinguishing the treacherous flames. Having no idea what it was about, he threw it into the pile of scrolls that he had already copied. The next thing that aroused great interest in Naruto was a scroll with a spiral emblem on the clasp. When he opened it, he discovered that it was a map of Konoha, with many highlighted passages and hidden routes. But the most interesting thing was undoubtedly the large complex called Hoger, hidden behind the Okage monument. He threw it into his pile of items to check them later. Finally, Naruto opened the last compartment. A strange Kyune came out of him. It had 3 points instead of 1, 2 of them opposite each other, and the third perpendicular to both. Wow, this is great. And having said that, he placed it in his growing pile of belongings. After going over the scroll one more time, he copied all the new righteous that appeared and then sat down. Mom, should I take this with me? I don't even know what these 3 things are for. But they must be dangerous to be sealed so intricately. Besides, even if they catch me, I doubt they'll think I can open that hidden seal, let alone know about it. Having said that, he put away all his newly acquired belongings on his scroll and rolled up the forbidden scroll as well. He threw the forbidden scroll behind his back, put his personal scroll in the bag, and shot back towards the tower. If I manage to sneak the scroll back in, everything will have gone according to plan, and no one will notice. Mizuki's point of view. Damn it. Where's that brat? He should be here by now, or he would have been caught by now. He kept pacing back and forth and cursing, checking his radio receiver for any news about the blonde. Damn, I'll have to go get it myself, he said, and went out in search of the irritating blonde demon. After about 20 minutes, she spotted a yellow flash out of the corner of her eye, and with a quick twist, she soon caught up with the moving blonde. Norma's point of view. Hey, Naruto. Here you are. I've been looking for you everywhere. What happened? Mizuki asked him as he stood in front of the blonde. Shit, he found me. Oh, nothing, sensei, I just got lost, even with this really good map, he said with a shy laugh and an idiot smile. Looking at the scroll on Naruto's back, Mizuki smiled and said, Okay, you did a good job, now please hand me that scroll. I don't know, sensei. I opened the scroll before I got there, and I think we shouldn't be looking at it. So I'm going to put it away. Is nothing wrong? Naruto replied with his stupid smile still on his face. Damn that kid, I don't have much time left. To hell with this farce, he's going to die anyway. With that, Mizuki's smile became much more real and wild. I'm sorry, but that doesn't work for me. Saying that, he lunged forward and delivered a strong kick to Naruto's chest, causing him to crash into a tree. Taking a shuriken smoke from his back, he threw it at the stunned Naruto. Die, demon. Shit, I'm really going to die this time. It was the last thing that crossed Naruto's mind before he suddenly fainted. Drop by drop. The cold drip was not exactly a good awakening. Looking around, he seemed to be in a sewer. The pipes were weird, too. There was a normal-sized tube with a navy blue liquid, surrounded by a thicker one with a crimson-red liquid. The weirdest thing was what looked like a small tube of a white substance growing, engulfing both of them. Looking around, there was only one way out. Where the hell am I? 1 minute Mizuki is trying to kill me, and the next I show up here. Maybe this is hell. Wetter than I expected, Naruto thought as he trudged through the damp corridors that looked like sewers. Grr. The sudden, deep growl woke Naruto from his thoughts. Damn, there's something else going on here, and it doesn't seem very friendly. Come here, boy, swallow me up dirt, he thought, and that, apparently, he knew was there. With no other choice, he decided to follow the disembodied voice. Damn, I hope I regret this. As he reached the end of the corridors, he saw what must be the largest doors in the world. That was saying a lot, as Konoha's main gates were stunning. Raor, startled by the sudden noise, was stunned to see the biggest and reddest eyes in the world. Not to mention the disembodied rows of gigantic teeth that formed a smile. Well, well, well. A jailer who is afraid of his prisoner, what an ironic concept. The dark voice sounded again. This time also accompanied by a sinister laugh. Who the hell are you? Naruto demanded, as if he had regained his voice. Ha 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 ha. Haven't you guessed it yet? And here I thought you were smarter. I'll give you a hint. What has 4 legs? It's big and red, and it almost destroyed Konoha. As Naruto tried to absorb the shock, his brain could not find an answer. Especially with those big, pointy teeth that gave him a Cheshire cat smile. Oh, come on. I need to give you another clue. Well, how about this? I have 9 beautiful tails too. This time the voice sounded so smug and presumptuous. Naruto wasn't sure if it was the innuendo or the condescending tone that pulled him out of his surprise. But he managed to answer, You are the QB. Bravo, do you want a cookie? Or maybe you prefer a banana, asshole. I can't believe it's taken you this long to realize who I am. Although he knew that it was probably stupid to contradict an ancestral being of immense power, Naruto couldn't help but feel furious when that stupid animal accused him of being stupid. Well, at least I'm not the silly animal that got stuck inside some kind of door, like when he chased a rabbit and got trapped. Squeak. The agonizing sound rang out as the red claw emerged from between the doors, and for the first time, Naruto could clearly see what he was up against. Stepping out into the light, the still smiling figure of the 9-tailed fox appeared. Well, well, well. The hairless monkey has guts. Not bad, but how about repeating it from this side of the fence? I'm brave, not stupid, Naruto snorted as he felt the fear slowly fade away. Mum, you're not afraid of me anymore. What made you change your mind? The QB said with a funny tone. It is easy to deal with an enemy that you can easily see. Not to mention these doors that keep you in your wet little hole. Not bad, you were able to analyze the situation, despite the fear, and make a rational decision. Not bad at all. I was right, you're interesting. But considering your track record, it's not surprising. What do you mean? Do you know my heritage? Naruto asked, suddenly feeling anxious again. Oh, don't you know that? What an unexpected twist, but I think I'll keep it to myself for a while. Consider it a punishment for the stupid comment about the animals, Kyubi said with a mocking smile. Please forgive me, Kyubi-sama. I humbly apologize for my previous behavior. Could you tell me what is my origin? Naruto asked with a slight bow. Ha ha ha, so you know how to swallow pride too. Wow boy, you're one of a kind. A shoulder in the head well put, and also, good acting. What do you mean, Kyubi-sama, with acting skills? Okay, the second time is not funny. Don't bother using the same trick twice. That's a life lesson. Unless, of course, the person you did it to is dead. In that case, go ahead. But seriously, kid, do you think you're going to cheat on me with that flattery? To a fox, the king of deception. Don't insult me. Well, since that's not working, there's no point in continuing this conversation. Fucking furry. Naruto replied with a disgusted expression. Turning his back on her, he began to walk away. Holding back another outburst of rage against the insolent worm, and his nasty comments, he continued. After all, there were very important issues to deal with. And I had wasted enough time already. He sighed, he thought, he had to be the most mature, so to speak. Wait a minute, Brad. Do you think I called you here to exchange insults? There are much more urgent things we should discuss before we both end up in trouble. And what could you need from a simple human? Naruto replied in a mocking voice. Ark. This damn kid is unbearable. It almost makes me want to let him die. She came back to haunt him with angry thoughts. He took a deep breath and continued. I need you to stay alive, or at least long enough, until you can get out of here. Then you can leave and die in peace. But until then, I won't let you. Ha, and how do you plan to do that from that doghouse you're in? Naruto sneered again, as he tried to disguise his expressionless expression at the frankness of the statement. Stop it, you impudent brat. I was going to be patient with you, but now, what the hell? I'll let you recover on your own from this little procedure. That said, a red cloud began to flood the walls around them. What the hell is going on? I thought there was nothing that could be done from inside there, Naruto shouted, feeling the fear come over him again. At the sight of the red chakra. Haha, here's another life lesson. Never make fun of someone unless you know you can beat him or you know all his tricks. But you're right, I can't hurt you in any way, nor try to control you. But pain lol, I can cause a lot from here inside. With that, the white substance in the tubes began to stick together and surround the other two even more. Suddenly, Naruto felt a stabbing pain all over his body. It was as if small blades were stabbing him at once. I could already see bruises under his skin. Whatever the Kyugi was doing, it was causing him enough damage to causing internal bleeding. Great, if I don't die because of Mizuki's giant shuriken, I'm going to die because of this giant fox. Kyubi watched with great interest. It surprised him that the blonde had not yet humiliated himself or begged for mercy. I knew the pain must have been unbearable. After all, he was manipulating everything on a microscopic level and all over the boy's body. Sigh, I really was enjoying this kid's suffering. Damn, I don't even have the luxury of hearing him cry. Well, I'd better start phase 2 before I kill him. Another blanket of red mist seeped through the bars. This time, however, it was flowing fast and hard, straight at its target. Naruto barely noticed her until a comforting feeling came over him, and he watched in amazement as the bruises seemed to heal instantly. Not to mention the pain disappearing. Thank you, that was all Naruto managed to articulate in a husky voice. Don't worry, I'm just doing it for me. Now go out there and finish that idiot off with your new gift. Oh, and try to do it before he kills us. We'll talk later, if you're still alive. That said, the red chakra cloak pushed Naruto, into a hole in the ceiling that he had never seen before. "Wait a minute, what a gift!" Naruto shouted. But all Kyuubi did was put on that annoying cashier cat smile. "Die, demon." Naruto suddenly opened his eyes and saw the Uriken slowly moving towards him. Wait a minute, things are moving slowly. How is that possible? However, there was no time to think about it now, as he propelled himself from the tree to dodge it. Mizuki's point of view. Mizuki's smile was fading. His shuriken had almost reached the halfway point of the unconscious blonde, when he suddenly woke up with an explosion of evil chakra. But the most disturbing thing was his eye. That crimson red, who had not been seen in 8 years, reacting quickly, grabbed his second shuriken and brandished it at the blonde one who was now in the air. Norm's point of view. Naruto's eyes widened. Shit. Damn, I can't dodge in the air. What am I going to do? The only thing Naruto could think of was to make a ball of himself, trying to protect some of his most vital areas. Just as the shuriken was about to impact, it suddenly flew around the blonde, making a couple of turns, before going deep into the forest. What the hell was that? Any new demonic tricks? Mizuki screamed in panic. The Zambu would no doubt have noticed the demon's chakra explosion, and it wouldn't be long before they arrived. He was running out of options, and now, to top it off, he had a strange defense. Damn, everything was going to shit. Naruto looked at himself, puzzled and confused. Was that the gift the fox was talking about? Or the slow-motion view? When he looked up, he saw that Mizuki was starting to sweat and panic. This gave him great satisfaction. And now what are you going to do? Your nonsense can't even touch me, Naruto replied. Damn, I hope that's true. That stupid fox couldn't even explain to me how things work. I've still got to get through this one. Don't you dare make fun. For me, I can still beat the shit out of you. Having said that, Mizuki, enraged, charged with the intention of finishing off the blonde with fists. Damn it. Even if I see it coming, I won't be able to move fast enough. He watched Mizuki approaching at full speed. Once again, he gritted his teeth and prepared to protect himself as best as possible. That damn gift better work again, was his last thought before leaving his fate in the hands of the Kyuubi. Unaware of the gentle caress of the wind. The blow was quick and powerful, but it completely missed. It was almost as if Mizuki had tried to land a right hook, but missed it. Gah! Mizuki screamed as she fell to the ground and grabbed her hand. The edge was completely bloody and open. It was as if someone had stuck a knife in his hand and made several random cuts. As he moaned in pain, Naruto finally noticed the faint glow of the wind around his face. When Mizuki was about to attack the demon again, he was suddenly picked up and nailed to a tree. On his neck, he had 2 kunai, one on each side. The Ambos had arrived. The dog-faced Ambo turned to Naruto and said, "The Okage will want to see you. Let's go now before more trouble gets made." So saying, he grabbed the forbidden scroll, and with a quick nod to his companions, took the blonde by the shoulder, and disappeared in a swirl of leaves. The other 2 Zambu quickly bandaged Mizuki's hand so she wouldn't bleed out and disappeared as well. Chapter 2. When Mizuki was about to attack the demon again, he was suddenly picked up and nailed to a tree. On his neck, he had 2 kunai, one on each side. The Ambos had arrived. The dog-faced Ambo turned to Naruto and said, "The Okage will want to see you. Let's go now before more trouble gets made." So saying, he grabbed the forbidden scroll, and with a quick nod to his companions, took the blonde by the shoulder, and disappeared in a swirl of leaves. The other 2 Zambu quickly bandaged Mizuki's hand so she wouldn't bleed out, and disappeared as well. Location office. Inu quickly released Naruto. He couldn't explain it well, but he felt as if something soft and fluffy was pressing his hand, while it was maintaining contact with Naruto. It was almost as if fluffiness was trying to push her hand away. No, I'm probably just tired. Or I'm not used to my new gloves, Inu thought. After getting rid of the adrenaline rush, Naruto suddenly felt the tiredness of the day. He found the chair in front of Kauba's desk and sat down quickly. His eyes were especially tired from the events of the day. If Inu noticed, he made no comment as Naruto's crimson eyes slowly bled, going from red to purple and finally back to ocean blue. Crackle. The old oak doors opened, revealing a worried-looking Sarutobi, along with the two previous ambus. Sarutobi quickly approached Naruto and checked his vital signs. After making sure that everything was in order, he pulled Inu aside, and the two quietly discussed the situation. After about 5 minutes, Sarutobi took a deep breath, dismissed the Zambu, and turned his attention back to Naruto. "So, Naruto, I heard you had quite an adventure today," Sarutobi began calmly as he lit his pipe. "Yeah, I've had a busy day, man." And once again the fake smile appeared. "Sigh, what am I going to do with you, Naruto? Taking the Forbidden Scroll is a very serious offense, and could land you in big trouble," Sarutobi said. "Well, Mizuki is afraid you cheated on me," Naruto complained, putting on his best pouting face. He sighed, he said, taking another drag on his relaxing nicotine cigarette, while trying to explain the situation to Naruto. "Naruto, you can't just accept things, we are ninjas after all. We live in a world full of lies and deceit," Sarutobi said, suddenly looking very tired. "What an ironic piece of advice, meat sack," a baritone voice suddenly said. Suddenly, Naruto suddenly opened his eyes, and then forced himself to relax. "Oh, it's not bad, idiot, next time relax." "Oh my god. Do you think you saw the Cubino Kistune or something? Ha 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 ha. This is no joke, this could give me away." "Yes, of course, this man is as much a pacifist as he is a senile one." Sarutobi seemed to notice the sudden distress in the boy's eyes, and became worried as he saw the silence lengthen. "Naruto?" "Yes," Naruto said, pulling him out of his inner conflict. "That's so soft, you little brat. Don't worry, I'll shut up now. But know that we still have things to discuss. So, see you later." "Are you okay?" Sarutobi asked with a kindly worried expression. "Yes, fine, except for the fact that Mizuki almost killed me," Naruto replied dryly. "Yeah, about that. Could you tell me your version of events, please? Damn, I let a part of myself escape in that last statement. I better get the idiot back with all my might." "Sure, I don't mind. You see, Mizuki-tem told me that if I entered the Okage Tower tonight and took the Forbidden Scroll, she would teach me a new and impressive jutsu. He said that participating was an espionage training exercise and that I should meet him in the forest. So I took the scroll out of your vault and passed the guards. Oh, by the way, you should tell your guards to keep a better watch, man." "Understood," Sarutobi said, visibly annoyed with the guards. "A lot of people are going to get in serious trouble tomorrow. Now please, continue." "Oh yeah, well, I was running around in the woods afterwards, and I got curious, so I looked at the scroll. But the truth is that I don't see anything of the other world, just a lot of Jun and level techniques. Nothing special, except maybe the Kajibas thing. That's when Mizuki found me. Then he asked me for the scroll, but I thought maybe I shouldn't read it, since I had Junin techniques, and he was just nin. So I wanted to get him back. And that's when he attacked me." Naruto mentally congratulated himself for having told the truth. After all, the truth was much easier to sell than lies. He simply never mentioned that he had omitted some very important details. But well, if the old man didn't ask, he didn't feel obliged to answer. "So how did Mizuki end up with all those wounds on the hand?" the old man insisted. "Oh, I don't know about that. All I know is that a strange wind was preventing him from hurting me." "What is he curious about?" Naruto continued in his enthusiastic voice. "Naruto, is there anything else you're not telling me?" Saruto asked, and again, staring into his eyes. Damn, I guess they don't call him the professor for nothing. "Well, it's time to put my ace up my sleeve to give pity," Naruto thought as he put on a sad and melancholy face. "Yes, there are a few more things you should know. I found out about the fox today," he said in a somber tone. "Does that make me the embodiment of Kyubi?" Naruto asked, making his most pitiful face. "What? No. No, don't ever think that, Naruto. Don't listen to those idiots. You're a good person, and I don't want you to forget that ever." "Thanks, old man," he said with a faint smile. Too easy, the self-pity card works great with the old man. What did he want? Sarutobi asked him urgently, while all the alarms were going off. He had to make sure that the label was still fulfilling its function. "He didn't say much, he just made fun of me a little and mentioned something about giving me a gift. I think that's what hurt Mizuki," Naruto replied. I see, Naruto. I can't express how urgent it is that you never try to contact the fox. He is very cunning and manipulative. So try to interact with him as little as possible. Okay, Naruto agreed without hesitation. And now what is this gift he has given you? I'm not really sure, Naruto confided. Honestly, I can't say exactly what it does, but it seems to protect me from practically any attack. The most interesting thing is that it seems that the 9 tails gave Naruto a kind of ultimate defense, Sarutobi thought. All right, Naruto, if that's all, you better go to sleep. It's been a long day. We can finalize the details tomorrow morning. When Naruto got up to leave, he suddenly remembered something he wanted to ask. He took out the old marriage contract and left it on the desk. There's actually one more thing. When I opened the scroll, I also found this marriage contract inside, for someone named Kushina Uzumaki. Who was she? Naruto asked, feeling anxious. Damn, I never thought I'd find that in there. Sarutobi shuddered to himself. I'm sorry, but I can't tell you right now. Maybe in a few years when you're older, Sarutobi said as he got ready. What? Why not? Are you family? Is that my mother? Come on, man. Tell me about it. Ah, that should be an excellent conclusion to my performance tonight, Naruto thought as he gave himself another mental pat on the back. Like I said, I'm sorry, Naruto. I wish I could. But circumstances do not allow it. The old man sighed again, and did not enter again, by pressing a bell on his desk. Ah, well, you're on time. Please accompany Naruto back to his apartment, he said, watching as the two disappeared into another swirl of leaves. When he suddenly felt another burden fall on his shoulders. When he read the contract, he felt anger and shame for his village. Desecrating the last of the Namikaze was a real sign of ingratitude. What would you say, Minato, if you could see them now? Still, I would have sacrificed your son to those ungrateful people. Naruto's apartment. Fucking and, you silent bastards. Always grabbing you and then disappearing. It feels so unnatural, Naruto growled as he crawled into his rumpled bed. At least everything else is going well. Ah, time for bed. With that last thought, Naruto plunged into the world of dreams. Drop by drop, the cold water fell on the blonde's face. Damn, not again. Naruto thought. I just wanted to sleep for a while. When he opened his eyes, he found himself back in the dark, damp sewer. Better get this over with already, he said as he reluctantly walked back through the halls. And now, what do you want, hairball? Naruto shouted at the seemingly empty cage. Oh, I was wondering when you'd show up. Good performance as before. If your thing as a ninja doesn't work out, you can always dedicate yourself to cinema, the fox said with a slight mocking smile. Before we get started, where the hell are we? You don't know. We are in your mind. I never knew you were such a pervert though, the QB teased. What do you mean? The 8-year-old asked, confused and embarrassed. Well, your mind is not only in the gutter, but that it's a fucking sewer. Ha 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 ha, the QB laughed. With an impassive expression at the bad joke, he sighed. So why am I here again? I told you we'd meet again soon. After all, you almost got yourself killed, even with that wonderful gift I gave you. Yeah, speaking of the gift, what exactly do you do? Naruto asked, feeling a little silly. Damn, are you sure you're just pretending to be stupid? Because it looks real to me, the QB said in a monotone voice. What do you think he's doing? The QB asked him. Well, it protects me and deflects the projectors. And slows down the movements of my enemies. Ha 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 ha, wow. You're really stupid. That's all you've managed to understand about your new lineage, even after trying it out. Not to mention, you even got one of the effects wrong. The Q made a face. Boxed. Naruto felt the blush of shame rising to his face, but anger quickly suppressed it. Naruto didn't own many things, but he valued his intelligence as one of his most precious assets. Well, why don't you enlighten me, oh great Kubisama? Naruto said sarcastically. Well, since I'm in a good mood, why not? QB said smiling. Here is the explanation. I manipulated your genetics so that your natural affinity with the wind would grow exponentially, far beyond normal capabilities. Although I admit I never expected you to generate a definitive defense. Wait, what is a definitive defense? Naruto interrupted. Damn, I have to remember that I'm still talking to an 8-year-old. Okay, assholes, an ultimate defense is basically a natural technique or skill that protects you from almost any damage. Wait, if almost everything is damage, why is it the most? It seems silly to me, Naruto replied dismissively. Mum, you're right. But the almost definitive defense does not sound very good, he said again with a mocking tone. Fine, 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 get on with it, Naruto said, becoming more and more interested in his new lineage boundary. Like I said, I never expected something like this to happen. I was just hoping that you could manipulate the wind chakra naturally and tear the idiot who attacked us to pieces. But this is a pleasant surprise. By the way, slowing things down, as you have so elegantly described, is not one of your abilities. The QB said with an ever-widening smile. It's one of my skills. More specifically, it is one of the capabilities of my eyes. Wait, so how did I see with your eyes, and how did you manipulate my genes? I thought you couldn't manipulate my body or my mind, Naruto replied in a respectful tone. Oh yes, you've been paying attention. Don't you feel like falling asleep? It was the sarcastic comments. Yes, just because I fall asleep in class doesn't mean I'm going to do the same when information is important to me. Besides, how mature you are. A millennial demon arguing with an 8-year-old boy. You must be very proud, Naruto said with a smug tone. Damn, I like you, kid. You make this hellish existence fun and entertaining. Okay, I'll state the facts, enough with the insults, but you shouldn't interrupt and save any questions for the end, the QB accepted. Well, at least for now, he thought as an afterthought. Ready, Naruto replied quickly. Well, answering your first question, when you are very agitated, or feel a strong sense of impending doom, you will unconsciously ask for help. That's when this strange mechanism kicks in and starts to intervene. Force your body to acquire some of my attributes to help you survive. One of them is my eyes. But don't confuse this effect with a lineage limitation. After all, you can't invoke him at will. Other skills you get from me are red chakra and increased hearing, smell, endurance, speed, and strength. As I paused, I noticed that the blonde was still silent, staring at him, waiting for him to continue. Well, this kid keeps his word. Now, as for the manipulation, I can't hurt you. It's a pretty broad topic. In short, it means that I cannot kill you or intentionally harm your mind or body. However, with this seal acting as a sentinel, if I improve your skills, it is considered a help and allows me to continue. So relax, I can't really hurt you. Seeing the sudden relief reflected on Naruto's face, he thought he should have saved the last part of the sentence. Damn it, I can't scare him. Although he would probably find me out. Anyway, I don't lose anything. Let's go back to your lineage. It has two parts. There's the sentinel part, where you don't even need to react consciously for it to protect you. This happens thanks to the gentle breeze that envelops you. As you saw, it repels everything around you, from the shuriken thrown at you to the woman's hand. When he grabbed you, the force of the thrust depends on the intention of the attack or the movement. The other part is the strong wind aspect. This is the offensive part of the defense. They are harsh winds that envelop you and cut everything they touch. Unfortunately, this is not sentinel. You need to use this skill consciously. So you'd better practice it as soon as possible. For now, those seem to be all the anomalies created with your lineage. I see, so you don't know much about this lineage either, huh, furry? Naruto scoffed as he got the information he wanted. You fucking ingrate, I'll kill you for that comment. As the blood flowed from the cage, a sudden howl rang out as the red chakra faded away. A faint bright breeze enveloped Naruto again. Well, this is quite useful, Naruto said with a mocking smile as he ran his hand through the gentle breeze. Che, don't think you're so important, brat. As I said, every defense has a weakness. And although it is perfect against physical attacks, it is lousy against fire attacks, the Kyugi said, suddenly with relentless seriousness. This caught Naruto's attention right away. What do you mean? Fire-based attacks will not be deterred by your small wind barrier. In fact, the opposite will happen, and it will make them stronger. What? But you said I couldn't turn off the soft wind effect of the barrier. What am I going to do? Besides, I thought the wind would keep me away from everything, Naruto asked sharply. Relax, I already told you that the light wind section is sentinel. He knows not to try to put out the fire, so unless you panic or force it, there will be no problem with the light wind or the strong one. And I wasn't lying, fire will never touch you, although it doesn't need it to kill you. That doesn't make sense, Naruto replied. Of course it does, the fire doesn't need to touch you. Your barrier against the wind would swirl it around you, preventing it from touching you. But that doesn't stop the oxygen consumption, as you are now surrounded by a dome of fire. Not to mention you'd cook yourself alive in the heat. But hey, at least it's only one of the 5 elements. Sigh, go with being unstoppable. Naruto snarled. Ha, I thought you already knew that in life there are no shortcuts or free power without cost or weaknesses. Besides, you still have me to heal you if you get hurt, they replied condescendingly. Oh, and by the way, good idea about copying the scroll. But do not be confident, and do not try techniques for which you are not ready. I would say that at most you should practice a ranked techniques, and that's already taking a risk. To be on the safe side, practice the Bizon techniques that appear there. They don't cause as much of a stir as the others, so the Zanbu won't chase you around for the big explosions. Good point, Zoro. Better to save it more destructive for later, and away from the public eye. Okay, now get the hell out of here. Naruto suddenly opened his eyes once more as he was forcibly pushed out of the sewers. Damn fox, at least he gave me this interesting lineage to work with. When he looked to the side, he saw the clock and opened his eyes wide. Shit, I'm gonna be late. Academy. Boom. The back door of the classroom slammed open and Naruto came in panting. 2 minutes to spare, not bad at all. It's not very good either, said the voice he now associated with the annoying. Great, what do you want? I want a sturdy container so I don't get teased, and also to have more time to escape. That said, you better get your act together if you really want to achieve your goals. Sitting down in his usual seat, he quickly concealed his surprise. How the hell do you know about my goals? I'm a part of you, asshole. When you let yourself be carried away by emotions, you channel part of the red chakra, and that unites me to you. By doing so, you use my abilities, but you also give me access to everything you see, hear, smell, and think. Naruto shuddered and pondered the fact that someone else could read his thoughts. Cool, don't be like that, Naruto. I think it's a very admirable goal. And don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Ha 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 ha, you fucking fox. Naruto bellowed, trying to ignore him. To his surprise, he felt a pulse in his stomach, and the Kyuubi's mocking voice disappeared. Mental landscape. Damn brat, he figured out how to block me. Well, what's going to be done to him? The Kyuubi sighed, turned around, and went to take a nap. Hey, where's Professor Mizuki today? Shrieked the pink-haired vixen, also known as Sakura Aruno. Mom, unfortunately Professor Mizuki is being detained while an investigation is carried out, and will remain absent until the matter is resolved, Iruka replied in a shaky voice, trying to cover up for his coworker who. He was detained. Ah, that reminds me that Naruto, the Hokage, wants to see you after class today. Why would the Hokage want to see the dobe? The blonde bitch complained. Damn, I almost feel sorry for the Uchiha sitting between those two. It could cause him hearing problems, Naruto thought as he looked at Lucia's pained face. It is not for us to question who wants to see the Hokage, Iruka chided sternly. Maybe the dobe had something to do with the incident, Sakura suggested. Suddenly, there was a second of absolute stillness while everyone seemed to contemplate what had happened, and with that chaos erupted. The children began to whisper to their neighbors, coming up with increasingly implausible ideas about what happened. Hush, hush, hush. Iruka shouted as he regained control of the class. We are not going to spread defamatory rumors about our classmates for having caused such chaos in the class. You will stay after class cleaning the classroom, Sakura, Iruka said with a look that would not admit of a retort. So Sakura did the next best thing. He glared at Naruto, as if it was somehow his fault. To top it off, Naruto wasn't even apologizing. In fact, I wasn't even looking at her. He was engrossed staring at the ceiling, ignoring everyone else. Let's see, there was the Kagebunsen, the Mizubansen, the Tsuchibisen, the Reikubisen, oh yes, there was also the Ketsueki-bisen. Which one to learn first? Which one, in fact? While Naruto was absorbed in his thoughts, two other pairs of eyes were studying him intently. One of them was dark brown and squinted. Mom, that Vixen is right. That the Hokage wants to see Naruto right after the incident seems like too much of a coincidence. Come on, why am I thinking about this? It's too troublesome. I should follow Naruto's example and daydream or something. After all, if he's not worried, why should I be? The other pair of pale eyes had a completely different way of thinking. I wish I had the courage to be so direct. I don't even have the guts to contradict my father. He sighed. Hours later, it was finally over. But damn, I have to see the old man again. Sigh, let's get this over with already, Naruto said as he walked heavily towards the tower. So used to inquisitive looks, he automatically regained his smile. Although I was a little more sincere this time, considering the many new techniques I had to try. Tower. Ah, that's good, Naruto, you're here, Sarutobi said. I would like to introduce our elders, Koru Tetane, Omura Mitokado, and this other gentleman, Hinoichi Yamanaka. Oh, hello, Elder-sama, Yamanaka-san, Naruto replied politely. Koru and Omura simply seemed to look at Naruto with disdain, while Inuichi flashed a small smile and nodded. So why am I here again? Naruto asked. The counselors simply wish to have an accurate description of what happened. The best way is for Mr. Yamanaka, who is here, to review his memories. Is it really necessary? Naruto asked, feeling a little nervous. Let them play. It won't matter, this seal prevents any manipulation of your mind, remember. Said the unexpected voice of Kyubi. This is a council decision. To abide by it is willingly, or we will do it under much more uncomfortable conditions, Omura stated with a cold tone. I see, well then we'd better get started, Naruto said. What do I have to do? Sit in this chair, and I'll take care of the rest, Hinoichi replied. Okay, Naruto replied as he dropped into the chair. Placing his hand on Naruto's forehead, he began to concentrate and force his mind towards Naruto's. It took him a minute, while he felt a strange pressure on his hands. Feeling the hand, Naruto had to hold his breath to the maximum. The wind seemed to understand and allowed the hand to come into contact with his forehead. Hinoichi continued on to the next stage, and Naruto fell unconscious. Boom! Hinoichi crashed into the wall. Wow, what an interesting twist, the Kyubi thought as he chuckled. Looks like the stamp won't be needed after all. With Naruto unconscious, the wind barrier returned in full force, and with a thirst for revenge. Not trusting the pulsating chakra hand that was touching his host's head. What the hell was that? Koru shouted, visibly alarmed. I have no idea, Sarutobi said as he ran to check on Hinoichi. Are you okay, Hinoichi? Yes, it's not that bad, my back just hurts, El Jounin said wincing as he tried to stand up. Sarutobi, we need to lock that thing up. Look what he did to Inoichi. After all, we can't afford another incident like Orochimaru's, Omura stated. Enough, Sarutobi said. We have no idea what is happening, and we will not take any hasty action until the situation is clarified. Now, please, take Inoichi to the infirmary. I was just trying to wake up Naruto. I keep saying we should have killed the bastard when he was sealed, Koru stated. I've said enough, now go away, Sarutobi growled, irritated. While the elders were leaving holding the injured Hinoichi, Sarutobi tried to lift the boy, still unconscious, and sit him on the sofa. But the task proved impossible for him. It seemed as if something invisible was preventing him from touching it. Every time he tried, his hand was deflected to the right or to the left. With a sigh, he lit his pipe while contemplating the blonde, still unconscious. What happened to you, Naruto? Why are you hiding things from me? Sarutobi thought sadly. He abruptly snapped out of his thoughts as he saw the smoke starting to surround Naruto. The smoke swirled back and forth around the blonde, but without actually touching him. She would just turn and walk away from him. Incredible, Sarutobi said quietly, a definite defense against the wind. Sarutobi wasn't sure he could believe Naruto last night, but this was irrefutable proof. Somehow, the damn fox had given Naruto a lineage. Ugh, he could have warned me that he was going to knock me out. Naruto exclaimed in a daze as he tried to remember where he was. Sarutobi watched in amazement as the wind barrier seemed to relax and compress. So it automatically protects Naruto from any harm. It seems that the more incapacitated Naruto is, the stronger he becomes. Hey, where are the old wild beasts, and the blonde one? Naruto asked surprised. Well, they left after you threw Inoichi against the wall, Sarutobi said with a hint of amusement in his eyes. How did that happen? Naruto asked. Because of your spectacular wind barrier, Sarutobi said with a hint of disappointment. Naruto, you know you can trust me, right? Sure man, Naruto said with a feigned smile. With a look of disdain, Sarutobi sighed. Stop wearing masks, please. I'm not the third fuck for nothing, you know. Now I want to know everything that happened, and the truth this time. With that said, Sarutobi sat back down behind his desk and stared at Naruto. With the smile fading, Naruto calmly observed, as if reflecting on the situation. I couldn't honestly say that I hadn't foreseen it. After all, as the old man had said, this man was not known as the professor because he was a fool. Okay, but to be fair, how much do you know about last night? Naruto asked calmly. After all, it is quite boring to tell everything. Okay, I know you took the scroll, I know Mizuki is a traitor, and I know you opened a lot more of the scroll than you admitted. Okay, but just to be clear, I never lied to you, I just omitted some things, Naruto said with a mischievous smile. Sarutobi couldn't help but smile to himself. She looks so much like you, Kushina, it's scary. But, striving to maintain seriousness, he continued. Be that as it may, you will tell me the whole truth now, Naruto, demanded the third cage. Very well, he said, reaching into his bag and pulling out the scroll he had copied the night before. He threw it to the third. Here you go. I guess you want it. To his surprise, the Sandai took a look at the scroll for me, tore it in half, and then handed one half back to Naruto. You can keep them, they are not too secret or dangerous in the ninja world, and besides, they are only there because of the chakra consumption or the high level of manipulation of elements that is needed. Also, consider it a belated birthday present. Thanks, man. Looking at the scroll again, only the cloning techniques remained. After putting it back in his pocket, he continued. Well, it looks like you know almost the whole story. Only that scroll was missing. But since you're still so calm, I guess you knew that too. So I guess the only thing missing is my intelligence. I see. I want to know why you hide your own ability from your teachers, Sarutobi asked worriedly. Actually, my skills aren't that great, Naruto said. I said he was smart, not that he had great skills. There is a difference, he clarified. Please enlighten me, Sarutobi asked. Well, for starters, I'm crafty. And I can improvise fast. I'm good at fooling people. After all, I cheated on you for a few years. But my skills are lousy. My basic forms of taijutsu are horrible, and so is my aim, Naruto said frankly. I'm not sure I understand. Why don't you ask for help then? Naruto let out a sinister chuckle. Whose, man? Everything I am today, I have achieved on my own. No one has ever helped me. Reading, writing, even walking. I did it all by myself. After all, who was going to help the QB brat? Saratev and frowned and thought, it is necessary to reorganize some functions in the academy. Then, looking up, he asked again, slightly pained, why didn't you ask me? Dude, you've done a lot for me, and I really appreciate it. But there was really nothing you could do. You could stop them from hurting me, but forcing people to accept me or love me is impossible. Besides, I didn't want to be a burden to you. Your job doesn't leave you much free time. It's better that you spend it with your family than with me. I've been doing well so far, and I'll keep going, Naruto said with a blank stare. Sarutobi stood there speechless, amazed by Naruto's generosity. He also felt anger towards those he had sworn to protect. To refuse such a jewel, they would undoubtedly regret it one day. Little did I know he was right. Looking at the clock, he cursed to himself. Turning to Naruto, he said, it's okay, you can leave, and remember, that you can always come to me if you need help. Understood, old man, Naruto said as he turned to leave. Just before he walked out the door, Sarutobi asked him one last question. Are you still that little kid who wants to be Hokage? Sarutobi asked cautiously, half afraid of the answer. I'm sorry, that child died a long time ago, Naruto replied with a sad smile. Out of the tower. Walking away from the tower, he headed towards one of the most deserted training grounds. Well, that was unexpected, he said. Kyuubi said. What do you mean? Naruto asked. The fact that you gave him the scroll that you had such a hard time getting, why did you give it to him just like that? The old man started to get suspicious, so I had to give him something important to stop him questioning me. Not to mention, I didn't really lose much. What do you mean? There were some really good techniques on that scroll. Naruto let out a giggle and continued. It seems that now the fool who is not paying attention is you, huh? Truly curious, the Kyuubi fell silent and simply said, Speak up for once, smartass. Well, after taking a look at those scrolls last night, I realized how useless that thing really is. At least for us at the moment. What do you mean? Kyuubi interrupted. Stop interrupting, and as I was saying, most of the techniques were too advanced for me to even try to understand them. I don't understand half of the concepts, and the big warnings they posted were a good deterrent. After all, Kinjutsu is forbidden for a reason. It almost always involves mutilation or death of the user. In addition, the other techniques are completely useless. How the hell could I use the Makuten? So, all in all, it's not a big loss. Okay, but how about later on? When you already understand those concepts and have the necessary skills? Well, for starters, there's no point thinking so much about the future that one forgets about the present. After all, if I didn't give the old man something, he'd be breathing down the back of my neck with that all-seeing crystal ball of his. Also, if I was able to break in and steal when I was 8, I guess I can do it again later. Understood, I guess, all in all, it wasn't a bad sacrifice. Training camps. And how are we going to get started with Fox? Now they treat me with a little respect. It's about time. If you want this to continue, you'll have to keep helping me. After all, respect is earned, not given. I don't care who you are or what you do for a living. All I care about is if you're going to help me now. All right, looks like I'm stuck for now, so what the hell? If I were you, I'd start with the Kujebasen. Why is that? It seems the most difficult and the one with the best score. Have you ever heard the saying that you should never judge a book by its cover? You, more than anyone, should know. Rereading the technique, Naruto began to understand why this would be a good foundation for him. It does not need any materials other than chakra and only requires a seal. The disadvantage is that it divides the chakra, and the requirement to continue dividing it is huge. Smiling, well, that doesn't go with me. Thanks for the heads up, Zoro. Well, one of us had to read, was the sarcastic response. That said, you should probably read the fine print too. Let's see, Kujebasen techniques not only create physical form, but also convey intellect. Therefore, any knowledge or experience gained by a shadow clone will be transferred to the user. This is another reason why these techniques are banned. Excessive absorption of sudden memories and experiences can cause severe brain hemorrhages, strokes, temporary gaps, and general confusion. Finally, if the clone experiences death, it will also be transferred to the user. This has caused many to go into a state of shock, in addition to suffering serious psychological traumas. Wow, that seems to have a lot of negative aspects, Naruto thought with an unenthusiastic expression on his face. As I said, power does not exist. It always involves a sacrifice in one form or another. But you're lucky, I can fix most of the problems on this list. Actually, of course. Cerebral hemorrhages and strokes are not a cause for great concern. But mental problems are more difficult, although manageable. Besides, your childhood was so traumatic that I don't think you can go into shock about your own death. Mom, so in short, this technique has no real disadvantage. Great, Naruto said with a smile on his face. Just for you, you're lucky to have me. So maybe you should respect me a little more and stop biting the hand that feeds you. Yes, yes. But of course, I don't thank the hand that saves me from a snake pit if it's the same hand that got me in there in the first place. Good point. All right, let's write this down. He closed his eyes and put his hands together, making the characteristic gestures. Kajebasen. A thin, sickly-looking Naruto appeared in a cloud of smoke. With a gesture of disgust, Naruto tried again. This time, an obese version of Naruto came out. Damn, this is harder than it looks. 3 hours later, in a cloud of smoke, 3 more clones appeared. Not bad, not at all, the original smiled while talking to his clones. Closing his eyes again, this time searching inside, the cross-shaped hand gesture appeared again. Kajiba's endpoint. Another 197 clones were presented this time. All right, I want 100 of you to start working on the use of strong wind, another 50 to start practicing hand seals. Then, the 25 of you start memorizing the politics and laws of Konoha. I have a feeling that we will need them soon. And the rest, practice basic forms of taijutsu and kyuna and shuriken throwing. Once the task was assigned, the clones quickly started with the tasks they had selected. Location Office. Sarutobi, looking at his crystal ball, watched as the mass of clones began their assigned tasks. What am I going to do with you, Naruto? Can you really turn a blind eye to this? Inu asked. Take off that damn mask, Kakashi, and yes, I will for now, Sarutobi said without taking his eyes off the crystal ball. But I want you to supervise him. Stay in the shadows and make sure things don't get out of hand. I trust Naruto to do the right thing, Sarutobi sighed. With all due respect, we expect an 8-year-old to control himself, especially within a rank justice. I'm sorry, but this seems too dangerous to me. I agree, that's why I allow you to continue, Sarutobi replied gravely. That doesn't make sense, Kakashi replied. If you agree, why are we talking about this instead of stopping it? Have you ever heard the expression to keep your friends close, but your enemies even closer? Sarutobi asks. Yes, but I don't see what that has to do with it, Kakashi stated. Right now, as much as it pains me to say it, I feel like I can't completely trust Naruto. So why are we debating this? Naruto is aware of this right now. Therefore, he is taking it calmly, patiently. He is also heeding me to a certain extent, and has not disobeyed any important orders, Sarutobi said as he took a puff. And what about the theft of the scroll? Kakashi asked. I could blame everything on Mizuki, since she was following orders from a superior, and it's impossible to measure someone's stupidity. So, actually, he's blameless. Besides, he's much more understanding than you think. After all, he returned the copy of the scroll. So why did you return some of those techniques to him? To tell the truth, a part of me feels that Naruto deserves them. Getting in and out with the scroll is still quite a feat. So are we rewarding his offense? Kakashi asked coldly. No, the real reason is the same as why he returned the copied scroll, to temporarily appease his opponent. If we take everything away from him, he will resent and look for new ways to get power, and then at least I will know where he is going. Not to mention that, although all the techniques it contains are rank jutsus, they are not particularly harmful to Naruto or to us. Since the clones only have 10% of the strength of the original, with the exception of the Cage and the Ketsukabusen, which are around 50% of the original user's strength. I see, better to face the known enemy than the unknown one. Right? Kakashi asked. He sighed. I guess you're right, even with a horde of Narutos, there's nothing I can't handle. Exactly. But, unfortunately, what scares me is his desire for power. I have no idea what he plans to do with it. After all, he bluntly declared that he no longer wished to be Hokage. With another deep sigh, Saratev, and looked longingly at the blondes. Training camps. Hugh. Naruto sighed as he let himself fall to the ground. After a brief pause in the fierce pitched battle he had just participated in against another horde of clones he had summoned. He looked around and saw that the sun was starting to set. With a sigh, he turned and dispelled all the clones at once. Ugh! Exclaimed Naruto, whose eyes rolled over and he fainted. Drop by drop, drop by drop. Damn it! Naruto thought. I always wake up like this. Hey, asshole. Good move. Once again, you have managed to unleash a source of stupidity by dispelling all the clones at once. Snarled the fox. It's an ordeal trying to fix your mind. Oh, shut up. My head hurts so bad I could kill a biju, so either you shut up or you have the decency to kill me, Naruto growled. Gladly if I could, murmured the Kyuubi. Sigh, besides I thought 200 was okay, it didn't seem too much to me. There you go again, asshole. Spouting nonsense without thinking. It's not so much about the number of clones as the amount of knowledge and experiences. If all they did was do nothing, you could have dispelled 1,000,000 of them and felt nothing. The old fox scoffed. Okay, got it. Just wondering, if you never use jutsus, why do you know so much about them? A curious Naruto asked him. Che, just because I don't use something doesn't mean it's useless. After all, if someone else is using it against me, I better be well prepared. There you have another free lesson. You should always know more about your opponent than he knows about you. Knowledge is power, never forget that. Thanks, I'll keep that in mind. The fox, looking at him curiously, seemed to reflect on something, and then, with an expressionless face, spoke bluntly. I doubt it. Oh, shut up. So why am I here? Your mind is trying to fix itself with my help, so I basically disconnected, and when it does, I bring you here. Deep in your subconscious. Besides, I still have things to ask you. Shoot, Naruto said as he sat down. You keep noticing that the old man is watching you, right? Yes, of course. I expected nothing less from him. And what are you going to do about it? Oh, that's easy, as long as you lend a hand. Oh, what do you need from me? Do you notice any other kind of labels around here? It's probably his way of tracking me down with that crystal ball thing of his. I'm going to take a look, he said, closing his huge eyes, as a red chakra flowed from the cage. This time, however, he felt calm and subtle as he scoured the tunnels for a chakra tag. Upon opening his eyes, Kyuubi replied, Yes, I found it, and with that a red chakra tentacle deposited a small sphere at Naruto's feet. Good, Naruto said as he began to examine the orb. Then you can destroy it? I guess it's a foreign substance in your body after all, Kyuubi replied as he stretched out to destroy the orb. Hold him down. Naruto roared. I need it intact for a while longer. So keep it until tonight, Naruto said as he threw him into the cage. Besides, you could use a ball to play fetch, you fucking brat. Kyuubi shouted, looking at Naruto's indifferent face. Calming down, he smiled and said, You're starting to annoy me again, so get the hell out of here. Suddenly, Naruto woke up with an unbearable headache, 10 times worse than the one he felt in his subconscious. Damn fox, he doesn't even have the decency to let me sleep for a while. So saying, he set out on the long way home. Chapter 3. Suddenly, Naruto woke up with an unbearable headache, 10 times worse than the one he felt in his subconscious. Damn fox, he doesn't even have the decency to let me sleep for a while. So saying, he set out on the long way home. Department? Ugh, damn it. If this is how a hangover feels, then I will never drink again, the young Uzumaki swore. Hehe, are you having a good time? The Kyuubi smiled sarcastically. Oh, shut up and let me pass out. I have to tell you the rest of the plan, Naruto groaned. Mum, no. I think I'll let you suffer a little more. I can wait. The Kyuubi smiled again. Damn fox, I really want to kill him. Naruto groaned as he went back to checking the scroll. Now I have to make sure that this will do what I want, Naruto thought to himself, as he crawled to his desk. And started reading the Ketsukabusen. Ketsukabusen, a forbidden jutsu of rank, created by Orochimaru. Classified as a failure due to its numerous weaknesses for the user. The Ketsukabusen is more like an invocation than a jutsu. It requires a blood sacrifice from the user to create a corporeal clone with 50% of the original user's strength. However, it is able to regenerate chakra and wounds and resists physical blows like a real body. It also has some features of the Kujibusen, with the difference that it affects physical attributes more than mental ones. Here, of course, lies the disadvantage of the technique. If the clone died, so would the original, and any physical damage would be transferred to the original as the clone dissipated. Due to these risks, the Ketsueki Bizen was declared banned and a failure. Perfect, Naruto smiled. This was just what I needed. Grimacing with a headache, he began to perform the manual sealing necessary for the technique. He quickly noticed that his hand seals were much faster and more accurate than before. Not bad at all. A few hours later. Ready, Naruto gasped as he looked at the clone. He decided to try it and gave it a good punch, pleased that the clone did not fade away. Seeing how serious the damage transfer would be, he asked the clone to prick his finger. The clone did so, and Naruto watched with disappointment as the small cut remained open, showing no signs of healing. Damn it! It seems that advanced healing skills only work on the real me. With a sigh, he ordered the clone to dissipate and prepared to sleep. When he heard a slight puff, he felt a prick in his hand. A small cut had formed, which then began to heal. Mum, I have to be really careful with this one. Well, at least it still has my windshield. It was his last thought before he passed out. Outside, Inu watched in amazement as Naruto learned to rank jutsus in a single day. Although the first one had not been so difficult, for a student of the academy, it was simply amazing. Such a talent has not been seen since the 4th Hokage and the young Itachi. Damn, I wonder how you'd do if someone took the time to really teach you, he whispered to himself. Mental landscape. Whack, whack you. Wake up! The QB roared. Shut up already. For once I wake up here without water falling on my face. Instead, I'm met with the roar of a giant demon, Naruto growled. I thought you had something to do tonight, the QB said as he calmed down. Yes, but as you said before, no. I've changed my mind. I can wait until tomorrow, Naruto said with an innocent smile. Little sack of meat, you will tell me or I will crush this sphere and destroy your plans. The QB smiled maliciously. Okay, don't worry. This is what we are going to do. Yawn, Naruto sighed as he got out of bed. At least that damn headache is gone, he muttered as he headed for the bathroom. When he came out a few minutes later, he looked at the clock. Shit. Late again, definitely not my week. She took off her nightcap and pajamas, quickly put on her orange jumpsuit, and ran out the door. Seeing Naruto running to class half an hour earlier, Kakashi wondered what he might be late for. But he put his book away, sighed, and followed the blonde man towards the academy. Academy. Disappointment wasn't a word Kakashi used often, but watching Naruto rush into class only to stare at the ceiling was pretty boring. Anyway, no one said the guard was interesting. Department. Suddenly, the nightcap turned into a grimacing Naruto. Damn, holding that position is no fun at all. Stop complaining and get your act together. We have a lot of ground to cover. You owe me one for letting you know when that stupid Imbudinu left. Yes. Add it to my account. Having said that, he ignored the fox and quickly grabbed a dark trousers that he had bought several years ago. She also put on a dark blue shirt, took out a piece of dark fabric, and tied her bright blonde hair up like a scarf. Now that he had gotten rid of at least 2 of his most distinctive features, he quickly grabbed the remaining fragment of the copied scroll, as well as the unsealed scroll full of things he still kept. He stealthily entered the alley, quickly opened the scroll, and took out the map. Finding the nearest tunnel entrance was not easy. It was blocked by piles of garbage, so Naruto had to use the one near the outskirts of the village. Why is this place so trashed? This whole neighborhood is burned out. Yes, here's my work, it's not bad. I guess they never managed to restore this part of the city. Congratulations, I am very proud of you. Naruto said sarcastically. He jumped into the dark tunnels, turned on a flashlight, and began to walk through the chambers. This place is really old and creepy, Naruto thought as he shivered a little. Cool, poor thing, he's afraid of dark caverns. QB scoffed. Not after seeing your ugly face. It makes this place look like a 4-star resort, Naruto replied. That was sad, brat. Without even bothering to dignify the above comment, he began to inspect the labyrinth of tunnels more closely. I wonder what this was used for, he said to himself. Probably an emergency evacuation tunnel, for civilians and VIPs, Q replied in a more serious tone. Well, now there is only one way left, because he saw that all the tunnels converged into a single room. And having said that, he ran out of the room. Phew, phew, phew. Speed is definitely one of the first things I'll have to improve, that and my stamina. Naruto panted as he exited the tunnel into a dense area of the forest. Wow, what an awesome house. As he looked towards the end of the trail, he saw some gates as big as those of the Yuga Uchiha clans. They were connected to a wall that surrounded a large complex. As he neared the doors, he saw a telltale swirl on his back. This place has a connection with me, he told himself. Don't tell me, kid. I thought we made this clear a long time ago. Ignoring Kyugi, Naruto approached the huge doors. He looked around and didn't see any locks. Shrugging his shoulders, he tried to push the door open. As expected, nothing happened. The doors remained closed. Oh my God! Kyugi groaned. Do the same as you did with the